Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sequel Decay. We have some unfortunate news today. Yeah. Chris is not with us today.
Nope.
He is otherwise indisposed. That's the word I'm looking for. Yes,
I think that's very important. He might actually be dead.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Well, you heard it here first, folks. First confirmation of Chris's dementia.
Will you guys shut the fuck up? I shoved this fucking thing of halls up my ass. Did you guys hear about the Spider-Man news?
I wish I had.
Aren't you guys sad that Disney and Sony couldn't agree to terms and we're never going to see our precious Tom Holland again?
I mean, we're probably going to see him again, but it's going to be in the fourth Spider-Man reboot in 2 decades.
I just want Daddy Iger to step on my neck.
But I just wanted to sit on my fucking face and guess my weight.
Oh, God. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sequel Decay.
I just want to lick Goofy's ass.
Try to do an intro here, Stefan.
While we're on the topic of Spider-Man, though, I think what we should do is we should rescue Spider-Man.
Bring our boy back.
Make Spider-Man corporate again.
Saving Private Ryan. But it's Tom Holland.
Saving Private Ryan.
Actually, knowing them, they're probably remaking Saving Private Ryan with Tom Holland. Remember when we had like a month-long conversation about how much Spider-Man meant to us? Yeah, fuck all that.
It's real unfortunate we got all this Disney Spider-Man news literally like the month after we did the Spider-Man.
I love how this news came out right after we come back to do another show.
Yeah.
Because our last episode was on The Lion King and how bad Disney live action
I haven't seen it yet.
Nor should you.
I don't want to ruin my good childhood or my average Canadian person childhood with another live action remake of a movie that doesn't need to be remade.
This truly is the 21st century experience. Welcome back to Sequel Decay, the only movie show podcast in existence. I'm Stefan and with me is Brandon Pollock.
Hello.
And Chris Ranter.
It's
Ranter, nice.
It's rants.
It's rants. Going to the court of the Queen's bench.
Actually, that's true. You can thank one of our co-hosts for that.
Stefan?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to tamper with one government record. So this week, we're talking about a trilogy of movies.
Superhero movies, actually.
Yep, are close to nobody's heart. I mean,
they're close to people's hearts.
I mean,
one of them is.
I mean, no one knew it was a trilogy until 15 years after the first movie came out.
That's why I'm kind of... Okay, well, fuck it. It's been out... The last one came out in fucking January. It's the Unbreakable trilogy.
Yay!
Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan's... Wow, that was enthusiastic.
I swear that wasn't timed.
M. Night Shyamalan's magnum opus of Unbreakable, Split, and this year's Glass.
Motherfucker, his magnum opus is The Happening.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was last
January. It's on fucking January, remember?
I thought it was last year. I'm not gonna lie, it's been that long.
Isn't M. Night Shyamalan's magnum opus The Happening?
I was gonna say Last Airbender, but I guess you have a point.
Oh, actually, that lovely film, The Last Airbender. Fantastic. The best piece of garbage I've ever seen.
Are you the Avatar?
Ong. That was an ong, man. You gotta think that the director at some point was like, wait, this doesn't sound correct.
The director was M. Night.
It's sad that I can count on two.
No, I know, that's my point. Like, you have to think he's like, I
can
cast this properly.
It's kind of sad that I can count on two hands the amount of times that I've hate-watched the movie and then rewatched the entire show.
I actually bought the entire show on Blu-ray.
It's so good.
It's so fucking good. I can't wait to watch it in stunning HD.
Let's just get right into it, folks. Are we ready? I think we need to huddle first.
You guys feeling the warmth yet?
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. Oh, that's it.
Ah, fuck!
Folks, group prayer. No, just kidding.
Jesus.
So, who wants to lead us into Unbreakable?
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt came out in 2000. It was written, produced, and directed by M. Night Shyamalan and stars Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson, Mom, Oliver, and that's it.
Is that what Robin Wright changed her name from?
What,
Oliver?
So Unbreakable came out in 2000, and it's basically M. Night Shyamalan's take on the superhero type of movie, but it's a bit different than your typical movie. It's very slow paced, not a lot of action. There is a little bit towards the third act, but very slow paced at first because it's basically an origin story.
It is
a guy named David Dunn, who is played by Bruce Willis. He is in a huge train accident where he's the only survivor, and he meets this person who's played by Samuel L. Jackson, who his nickname is called Mr. Glass. Elijah something is his actual
Elijah,
something like that, right?
Because he has
It's Elijah Wood.
Elijah. It's Frodo.
he's called Mr. Glass because he has brittle bone syndrome.
Yes, I think that what was the actual osteogenesis
yeah.
imperfecta.
You got it.
Yeah.
Look
so
at you go. Someone paid attention
Yeah, so
during
he
the
was
movie.
born with
I definitely
both arms and both legs broken right when he was born, and so that's why he's called Mr. Glass. But David Dunn meets this Mr. Glass, and basically the idea that Elijah gives to David is that you might be a superhero because you are the sole survivor of a huge tragedy. You've never been sick, which he slowly finds out as the movie progresses. He's never had any injuries. You also find out later that he faked a car accident where he, air quotes, got hurt and gave up his football career for his wife, which is why they have marital problems. Which is it's a lot to take in the first little bit.
Yeah,
but it's I don't know. It's something, at least for me, it's a little bit wholesome. Like it's not your typical.
It's wholesome. It's wholesome.
Well, not like in the wholesome. Like,
it's very personal.
Yes, exactly. That's a better word.
It's very grounded.
Yes.
Well, it makes you feel like you could actually be a regular person. Like, it doesn't seem like a superhero movie when you first start watching it.
Yeah, because it's not fucking cape shit.
Exactly.
This guy is taking the train to work, and he is trying to hit on this lady when he's married.
And he's hiding
He seems like a very certifiable douchebag when you first see.
Yeah, but we learn like it's more he's just like kind of lost. And he doesn't really know what he should be doing, and he feels kind of hopeless and unfulfilled.
Yeah. And then when he starts doing all the air quotes superhero stuff, it's when he starts feeling fulfilled and he actually starts loving his wife again and really like trying to get his life together.
But being this being an M. Night Shyamalan movie, there is of course an extremely dark twist to it.
Very dark twist to it, yes. No.
So this was M. Night Shyamalan's second directorial effort. And it followed up The Sixth Sense. And in a sense, it's really unfortunate that it followed up The...
In the sense.
Hey. In a sense, it's really unfortunate that it followed up The Sixth Sense because it kind of went under the radar, I guess.
Yeah.
It got pretty good like critical reviews, but from what I remember anyway, like it didn't get a lot of mainstream attention. I'm pretty sure it made it back its budget.
It definitely made its money back.
It made its money back, but like it didn't exactly make bank.
No, it didn't make major bank.
I don't think it wasn't really one of those movies that really stands out. Like, that kind of really gets the crowd like, oh, I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
I want to see another one of these, like a sequel or something like that.
Yeah, because this was a time when it was like kind of saturated with superhero origins too.
Not really, actually.
2000? I guess it was more. I guess X-Men was coming. Okay, it was kind of right before.
Superheroes were kind of treated as a joke at this point.
Yeah, and maybe it just like didn't cross people's mind that this was. Well, it wasn't really. I guess like if you look at the poster, for example, like you don't think, oh, this is a superhero movie.
No,
you think this is a dark character thriller.
Yeah,
which it kind of is too. But this episode's fun because we're gonna be able to look at two very different parts in M. Night Shyamalan's career. But we're gonna start with Unbreakable, and let's start right off the bat and say like spoilers from this point on. First of all, and second, we all really like this movie.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that.
It's definitely my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie.
It is one of my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movies.
This is my favorite M. Night movie.
M. Night Shyamalan is one of those directors that has very clear weaknesses. He's not very good at getting the best performances out of his actors, I don't think. And he writes a lot of long expository dialogue. But I think this and The Sixth Sense is where he puts where he makes
D23.
Oh, okay. Oh, we've been recording. Okay, cool.
Oh, good.
Recording hasn't stopped.
Right, okay.
Oh, thank God. Oh, fuck.
When your recording software fucks you.
Oh, God.
Hey, that's a good Pornhub title.
Yeah. I think, okay, so like we were saying, M. Night has very obvious weaknesses, and I listed them all before. I think Sixth Sense and Unbreakable is when he makes them a strength, I guess.
Yeah.
Because Unbreakable specifically does have a lot of expository dialogue, but it's filmed in a way that it's like very like kind of static and almost quiet.
Yeah.
Very quiet.
Yeah.
Very quiet.
It's not realistic, I would say, but it like comes across much in kind of almost like a play would. Like the first scene I'm thinking of is when Robin Wright is talking to Bruce Willis through the doorway, and it's just the back of Bruce Willis's head. You don't see his reactions. You just see Robin Wright, and she's great in this movie, by the way. And you just see her emoting and talking. And I think that's one of the best scenes in the movie, and I think that generally like encapsulates the feel of the movie.
I think if you want to talk about scenes that come off like a stage play, we should talk about the scene where Spencer Treat Clark is threatening Bruce Willis with a gun.
Oh yeah,
That is
my favorite scene of the entire movie.
That entire scene just screams stage play.
This movie is like
it's
so well shot.
It's very, very dark.
It's very sad.
It is very sad.
It's a dark, sad.
It is very sad. Like towards the end, it has a little bit of uplifting kind of tone to it.
But then
kind of though. Like
then it really cuts through that though.
Well, and going back to what you were saying about seeing two different points in M. Night Shyamalan's career, he's known for having the big plot twist at the end.
Yeah.
And in this one, I know what it was, but I didn't really see it as that huge of a twist. I kind of saw it coming.
I think if you can put the dots together
compared to like the new the split in Glass. The twists on those were way bigger twists.
Yeah,
that had nothing not nothing to do with the film, but like you wouldn't really anticipate.
I agree with you. I think this one, even if you can kind of connect the dots before this, works a little better because it hits really hard. It hits extremely hard. And it ties into the theme of the movie, where I think a lot of the criticism about M. Night Shyamalan's like other twists, which we kind of have to talk about, I guess, to an extent. Well, only in the extent that they affect these movies, is that they feel like they're there for the sake of being there.
Yeah, like this one feels personal. This one feels hard hitting. It cuts like butter, and it's just he put sad.
He put a lot of his effort into this film.
Yeah,
it really shows.
Like I really do stand by saying this is fucking masterpiece.
It's really good. It is very good. Definitely. Would continue. I'm going to continue to watch this through the years.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah! I'm glad that it's kind of developing, I guess, a little bit of a cult status.
A little bit,
as time's gone on. Like, I mean, and I don't really want to call it a cult film because it did well enough at the box office. People generally liked it just fine.
Well, yeah.
But I will probably watch Unbreakable more than I will ever watch The Sixth Sense. And it's not to say that I don't like that movie, but I have stronger feelings towards Unbreakable.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I've never seen a superhero deconstruction feel like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
But I will say it's nice to see a movie in which Bruce Willis gives a shit about what he's doing.
yeah.
Remember back in the day when Bruce Willis actually acted?
Yeah, I remember.
Even in the third movie, he didn't really talk a lot.
But he's not in that movie too much.
Yeah, and he doesn't put a lot of his all into it, just like how he never has put an effort into a movie since, 2007?
Pretty much.
Maybe.
Yeah. That was just old grumpy asshole.
He's just an old man.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard Kevin Smith talk about what it was like to work with Bruce Willis on Cop Out?
Apparently it was a nightmare.
It's the saddest story I've ever heard a man tell about meeting your heroes.
Yeah.
Well, there's always that saying, you should never meet your heroes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
they really did not like each other.
I can imagine.
No. Yeah. Bruce Willis kind of seems like a piece of work.
I'm surprised he actually gave a decent performance in Moonrise Kingdom. He actually gave a shit.
And he gives a shit in this movie. It's very understated. It's not very action-y, actually.
No, there's no action scenes at all.
Yeah.
There's the one.
There's
at the very end.
Yeah, where he beats up that guy.
In the last 15 minutes of the movie, where he doesn't even beat up, he literally just chokes him out.
That's true. True.
It's very quick.
It's very fast.
Yeah.
There's no big elaborate set pieces. It's just chokes him out.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing was his weakness was water.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which I thought was one of the most ridiculous weaknesses I've ever seen.
Okay. No, it's not that his weakness is water. He's just not a good swimmer.
I was gonna say it's not that it's his weakness. It's that it's a trauma.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Which is very
which makes it more realistic.
Yeah. Exactly. It's grounded. When people say superhero movie is grounded, this is not necessarily the first thing that comes up, but it's definitely a good example of it.
Oh yeah, I think this and Watchmen would be one of the top 5 things to come up.
I haven't seen Watchmen in a long time.
I would read the book before watching the movie.
No, play the video game. Watchmen: The End Is Nigh.
Don't do that. So if we're talking about Bruce Willis, I guess we should probably talk about Samuel L. Jackson.
He's great.
I think it would be an idiot not to talk about Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson is one of the few actors I know that can play a variety of roles.
Yeah.
And still...
He can play someone like Nick Fury, who's the good guy, but very stern. He can play someone like Mr. Glass, who is mentally and criminally insane, but very collected. And
Jules from Pulp Fiction, who's
Pulp Fiction.
The mobster with a heart of gold.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can do comedic, you can do loud, you can do Mr. Glass, who's very quiet and understated, but very mechanical in his thinking almost. Because the movie is not really centered as much around Bruce Willis, I feel, as because the first scene is not Bruce Willis's origin story. It's Mr. Glass.
Yeah, it's the birth of.
I think it's to the movie's benefit that it focuses on him because, like, yeah, he spells it out at the end, kind of not subtly at all, but whatever. That, like, it is a movie about two opposites. Yes, he's the unbreakable man, but who's been afflicted with a sort of trauma and feelings of worthlessness. And then there's Mr. Glass, who is also traumatized by his condition.
Yeah.
Which makes him literally extremely breakable. And also he's struggling to find his place in the world. And unfortunately, the coping method he chooses is mass murder.
Yes, he, if I remember correctly, he said that he devoted his entire life to comic books and figuring out if actual superheroes exist.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to find, that certain set of words. Oh, there's been a horrible accident, but there's a sole survivor, and he's miraculously unharmed.
Yeah.
Which is what happens to David Dunn. What they don't tell you at the beginning of the film, and they find out literally in the last 2 minutes, is that he caused all of these accidents. A huge train crash killing 137 people, another hotel fire from the first floor that kills the entire contents of the building. It was an airplane explosion that happened. He set up all these events to make a superhero for himself that he could fight, because he knew that he was the bad guy from the get-go. Or at least that's what the impression we're given.
That's the role he accepted for himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
In that sense, it's a very interesting meta-commentary on the whole superhero thing. So, as a quick aside, the music in this movie is fucking incredible. Like, really the main music is just this kind of one theme that David Newton Howard, I think, is the composer. James Newton Howard. And it's like this one like theme that plays when starts playing when Bruce Willis is in the train, and it's this very sad, melancholic theme. And it repeats throughout the movie, but it repeats in different tones. Like, there's parts where it sounds heroic, there are parts when it sounds extremely sad, there are parts when it almost sounds like techno.
And the fact that one piece of music can do that for like a multitude of scenes is incredible.
It's excellent.
It's amazing.
It's
what it is. Yeah.
Okay, so we kind of started teasing the whole idea of the deconstruction of superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
Pieces do it. I would say this is the best deconstruction of the superhero genre since Watchmen.
Yeah.
I can't offhand. I can't think of anything that does it better.
Not really.
Because
like, I started watching The Boys on Amazon Prime recently.
I was gonna watch that. How is it?
It's like it's okay. I've heard the book is a lot more fucking mean-spirited than what the show's kind of been so far.
The book is one of the legitimately one of the my least favorite things that I've ever read, because it's just a mean-spirited, cynical story for 14-year-olds who think they're being subversive. Like, I hate that fucking book so much.
Like, the show definitely has elements of that, and I haven't read the comics, but from what you've told me about it, it sounds like the show kind of has elements of that. The problem is that the show spells out what it's about to you, to the point where it's like, I don't feel like I'm actually thinking about it.
You're just watching.
I'm just kind of absorbing what they're telling me, and I'm just going, whatever.
Yeah. It's constantly winking at itself over how smart it is.
Basically, it's like jerking itself off over how smart it is. Points. Like, there's a point where they're crossing the road, and Carl Urban just starts going on a tangent about how superheroes are really just there to be like, this big corporate empire that you can make movies and shows and shit off of and stuff. And it was just like, yeah, we fucking get it. I've talked about this on Sequel Decay before.
Yep.
And
you fucking hack. Get out of our lane.
Yeah, fuck you, Garth Ennis. But with Unbreakable, we can all agree that M. Night Shyamalan's not a very subtle man.
No.
Very non-subtle.
M. Night is still really good at, no matter how unsubtle he may be, just like Spike Lee. They're both very unsubtle filmmakers, but they still, like, you're still thinking about their movies when you're done with them.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found really interesting was how this movie deconstructs the superhero origin story using the Kubler-Ross method, which, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's the 5 stages of grief, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And I noticed that David's entire character arc revolves around this. I'd even say to an extent, so does Sam Jackson's.
Yeah.
Most of it happens off screen, but because the bulk of Sam Jackson's time on screen is basically acceptance.
Well, yeah, because their arcs are like mirrors of each other.
Yeah, they're perfect foils for one another. But yeah, for David, his denial starts with him just not believing he's a superhero. Mm-hmm. And then later he starts taking out these frustrations on his son and on Elijah, because they're both insisting you are a superhero. kind of giving them like this fuck off and stop bullshit, which would be anger, obviously. And then he starts kind of bargaining and thinking like, oh, like he starts kind of bargaining with himself and kind of going like, am I really a superhero? And he's just kind of weighing it out a little bit.
Well, there's that great scene where he's with his son in the basement, and he just keeps putting on more weights. He's like, how much for? What?
Not even that, but also him thinking about the accident and him coming to the realization of like, oh shit, and like him thinking about that, him kind of weighing out even like the holes of him being a superhero, like how it's unlikely. And then of course like the depression comes from like, you know, his grief of being the sole survivor of this terrible crash.
Yeah, survivor's guilt, exactly.
Yeah, he's got survivor's guilt. Yeah, like he's just really depressed throughout the entire movie, I kind of noticed. Yeah. And then finally he just kind of accepts it when he decides like and understands like he does have gifts and he just decides to use them for the greater good. This movie is absolutely about grief.
Oh yeah.
And it uses the superhero origin story as an allegory for that.
To express it.
It's extremely smart.
Like that's the thing about Shyamalan is that I don't think we give him enough credit as a filmmaker. Like,
no, I don't think so.
It's because everyone's such a meme now. Like, M. Night Shyamalan plot twist, and then that conversation ends there.
Yeah, because that Robot Chicken sketch or like The Happening, which as funny as The Happening is, it's really fucking funny. Yeah, like there's like I think Shyamalan has some very interesting ideas, and I think that Shyamalan, like, especially some of his shittier movies, it's like, some of them could be really good. The problem is in execution. And I think he's got some really great ideas, but most of them haven't panned out well because he's not very good at executing them.
He needs someone's help to kind of get his idea out onto the screen.
Yeah.
Like, he's a very sloppy auteur, but goddamn, like, when he makes a good movie, he makes a really fucking good movie.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, our next film in the lineup.
Before we do that, we should Chris, do you recommend Unbreakable?
Please get your belt right out of my face.
No.
That's my recommendation, guys.
Brandon, do you recommend Unbreakable?
I mean, is there nudity?
No.
Damn it.
PG now.
We all hated it, guys.
all right.
How's that for a fucking twist?
Yeah, recommendations. I would give this one.
I love this movie.
This is definitely my favorite Shyamalan movie, and definitely one of my favorite movies of the century. I think
it's fucking great. Like I think it legitimately is one of the best superhero movies ever.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
It's like you said, Chris. It's just so smart.
It's very dense. It's very complex, and I think that's why it's so good.
Well, M. Night Shyamalan's really good at taking these very complex ideas and somehow just making it work.
Yeah.
Like, which is very evident in, I guess, the next film that we're going to talk about today, which is Split.
Oh, and this one is going to be a lot.
And this one's going to be a lot to talk about.
Okay, so
I don't even know where to begin. I guess we could start with the elephant in the room, which is the...
Well, I'll talk about what it's about first.
Yeah, tell them a little bit about the film.
Yeah. And then we'll go into the...
Really problematic aspects.
Really problematic stuff with the film, yeah.
Alright, are you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Lead me in, Stefan. Tell me.
So, Chris, tell us a little bit about The Split.
The Split? Talking about your parents' divorce?
Yes. Brandon, why won't you answer my calls? I need support.
My dad too.
Anyway, tell us about Split.
Split came out 16 years later.
Okay.
And it was basically just marketed as a standalone thing, and this was during the Shyamalan-essence, if you will.
Yes, it came out after The Visit, which was like...
That movie is fucking hysterical.
It's a great movie. Like, it's generally...
so funny.
Yeah. It's like the first movie he made in a while after Last Airbender, I think.
No, it was after Earth.
Oh, right! I completely forgot about After Earth. That movie sucks!
Do you blame Shyamalan
Will Smith and his son are terrible!
Well, I mean, everybody's awful in that.
Like, no, but like, who's more to blame for it, though? Because I know it was Will Smith's passion project from what I'm aware.
Oh, that's totally correct.
So I would blame Will Smith more for that than Shyamalan.
Well, regardless, the movie's fucking awful.
Yeah, regardless, the movie's a fucking
just a shit show altogether, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, anyway, so it was his first movie since After Earth, and it was like way more of a grounded horror comedy. I'm not going to talk about The Visit forever, but it's really good.
It's so funny.
But Split is the first movie that was like critically like acclaimed.
Yeah, like I want to say that The Visit was a little more divisive because it was so, like,
Weird.
the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think Split was the one where everyone's like, M. Night's back, bitches!
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's the thing that's really great about because I saw this movie before I actually saw Unbreakable.
Yeah.
And when you first see the movie, you don't even know it's part of the trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to call it. You don't even know it's part of the franchise until the literal last 2 minutes of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
like most M. Night Shyamalan twists.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the movie was marketed as this new psychological thriller
Mm-hmm.
than a superhero kind of movie, which is great.
Yeah.
Because it touched on a lot of things.
Chris, who's in this movie?
The movie stars James McAvoy,
Mm-hmm.
James McAvoy,
James
James
McAvoy,
McAvoy, James McAvoy,
James McAvoy,
James
James McAvoy, James McAvoy,
and James McAvoy, along with Anya Taylor-Joy and
It's
other
like we
people.
myself
Yep.
an eye. Fuck.
No, really, like, remember those fucking trailers for Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events?
Oh my
for the trailers?
god,
Like,
yeah.
Jim Carrey,
And
Jim
Jim
Carrey,
Carrey.
and
Jim
Jim Carrey. Imagine if they did that for the fucking Split trailer. That would just be so out of left field. James McAvoy, and James McAvoy star in this wacky thriller about DID.
Yeah.
Wacky, I like that term he used for that because it's definitely not
Anyway.
wacky.
So, Chris, what's the movie about?
Okay, so basically,
Tell us.
it's structured like a single location horror film.
Mm-hmm.
Where these 3 teenage girls are abducted by a man with 24 different personalities. I refuse to call it DID. It may as well be made up.
Yeah.
Very specific teenage girls, let me be clear.
Yes, very specific teenage girls, but that's revealed later on. And
Mm.
this is for the people who don't want spoilers, Brandon. But he abducts these 3 teenage girls, 2 of which he had been tracking down for days, and 1 of which just happened to be there.
Which is Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, which is Anya Taylor-Joy. And basically it revolves around them trying to get out while they deal with this
Monster.
Yeah.
Who's also dealing with demons of
His
their own, I guess.
well
That's a good
yeah.
way to put it, yeah. Their
Yeah.
own,
Yeah.
It is a wonderful movie with very problematic aspects.
Yes.
Well, like, I guess
Now we can talk about
the
the
biggest
elephant.
thing in the room to talk about is the main premise behind the movie, which
Yeah.
is DID.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so James McAvoy's character, who's like his legal name is Kevin, but he obviously
Kevin
has
Wendell Crumb.
Kevin Wendell Crumb, but he has that much. He has like 24 personalities, so it's not usually him
23.
and Kevin in command.
Is it 23?
Oh,
Oh yeah,
24.
24th is the beast.
Yes.
Exactly.
So technically he's right,
Spoilers.
fucker.
From now on, by the way.
He's like literally diagnosed in the movie as having dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah.
They say that multiple times. Only problem is
It's a really bad representation.
it's an extremely bad representation.
It's,
like it
it's
does.
borderlining uncomical.
It's comic. It really, yeah, it borderlines on it. It has nothing to do with the disorder in real life, and it's really shitty that they didn't just make something up
Yeah.
because
Well, yeah,
it's
'cause
already so supernatural.
Yeah, because we were talking about that, and I straight up said to you, like, they might as well have just made something up at
Yeah,
that point.
exactly. And that's really bad because like people with mental health issues are already stigmatized enough as being like dangerous psychopaths,
Yeah.
and really like
Unstable.
Well, especially with, like, I don't want to go into politics that much, but especially with, like, the recent shootings in the States. They're not blaming guns, of course. They're going to blame people with mental health issues.
exactly. And people with DID, like especially most of whom, probably the like 99.999% of whom are completely harmless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Are-
that's exactly what it did, right? It made basically everyone think anybody that has this kind of disorder is going to be a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and I mean, it's not the only movie to do that.
No,
No.
but it's definitely one
But
that
it's
hits
an
close.
incredibly dated and shitty way of getting scares out.
It's an old
Yeah.
movie tactic.
It kind of reminds me of Psycho in that sense,
A
honestly.
little bit. Yeah.
But yeah, it's extremely unfortunate, and we can't talk about this movie without talking about it.
No.
Well, it's the center of everything.
Yeah.
It's literally what
Like-
the movie is based on. Is
Yeah.
this guy Kevin Wendell Crumb, the identities in his head fighting with one another about what they should do about Kevin.
Yeah.
Or which is why the two most prevalent are in control of what they call the light are Patricia,
And
Miss
Dennis.
Patricia, and Dennis, and the 9-year-old kid named Hedwig. They call themselves the Horde because they believe that there's this all-powerful, the epitome of human evolution called the Beast,
Mhm.
who is going to come and show the world that A, they exist,
Mhm.
because most people don't believe they're even real, and that he's all faking it. And two, to show that how powerful they've become. They call themselves the Horde, which is coined by the media.
It's got this strange, like, spiritual, allegory to it. Again, Shyamalan and his complex themes.
Yeah.
But beyond the comical depiction of dissociative identity disorder, which is basically some elderly bitch going, I believe that dissociative identity disorder causes superpowers. Also, I have a PhD.
It's like, not to linger on this for longer than we absolutely want to, but
Jesus Christ,
it really is incredible that they didn't just think, wait, is this actually a symptom of DID? And would we be better off just making some shit up because it's already a fucking supernatural thriller?
Yeah,
exactly.
So just make something supernatural up. Like, I don't think that would get rid of all the baggage,
No,
but like it would
get rid of
certainly
all the
avoid
baggage.
stigmatizing a very specific group of people.
One thing I will say though is that yes, it is a bad representation of the disorder. James McAvoy is able to play flawlessly 24 people.
Well, we only see,
you only see like
eight
6 or 7.
Eight of them.
Eight of them. Thank you.
Yeah.
Still, he plays 8 roles in one movie,
Flawlessly.
completely flawlessly, and it's to the point where you can see a part of his like arm or the top of his head. You just know which personality he's taking on. He is so incredibly gifted and fantastic in this movie.
Well, he's a really good, he's a really good visual actor, and he nails the mannerisms down to a T. He's absolutely brilliant in this movie, and it's just insane how he just effortlessly goes from one to the other.
My god!
Would y'all say this is his best performance?
Yeah,
I would definitely agree. This is his best performance.
Like undoubtedly, this is probably this is gonna sound really like plebbish of me, but I still fucking love him in X-Men: Days of Future Past.
Oh, he's great.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
One of the few superhero performances where I'm like, he could have been nominated for an Oscar. That's fine.
Yeah,
he's
I feel
brilliant in
like this
Alcoholic
he should be
Jr.
nominated for something. But this movie, I feel like
He's brilliant in this.
He's brilliant.
Yeah.
There's literally a scene where he is talking to himself in different voices, and you can tell which ones are which.
Oh yeah.
And you don't even need to see his face. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
With the whole disorder thing, it yes, it was a bad representation of it, but it did get me thinking, like asking myself some questions about what the actual disease entails. Like, there's this one part where, what is it? That one person, nobody else has diabetes, but the one, Jade, has to take insulin.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's quite interesting. I'm actually curious if this is a real thing, right? And so I've never looked it up because I got lazy, but it's one of those movies I think it just makes you think about, is this an accurate representation? If it's not, what is the actual symptom? It brings awareness.
Well, I
would say.
think for people like us, like if we didn't know anything about it, we'd want to be like, let's see. I highly doubt it because this is like borderlining on comical, but sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for people like us, we'd want to learn the actual symptoms of DID, and we'd actually want to get some further context as to how bad the representation was. But people are fucking dumb, dude.
Yeah.
People are fucking dumb, and they'll actually probably believe, DID causes superpowers.
I mean, people still believe that schizophrenia makes you violent.
Yeah.
And
in some cases, maybe, yes.
In some cases, maybe, but it's way less common than movies would have you believe.
Well, exactly.
It's
because it's Hollywood, man. They fucking hype up everything.
Yeah.
To like the nth degree.
It doesn't matter if
ridiculous.
it's inaccurate as long as they get the shock.
Exactly.
And that's the thing is like, if people didn't take away so much information and they didn't get all their knowledge from fucking movies, I don't think this would be as egregious. And I mean, it's not something I want to say.
Yeah, but like media shapes how we perceive the world.
Exactly. And that's a big issue because, God forbid anyone fucking look up the proper symptoms of DID. No, we're going to believe the wacky Shyamalan film.
That's because most people are just either too lazy or just don't care enough to actually
exactly.
look up that.
It's laziness and ignorance.
Yeah,
exactly.
But we still like this movie a lot.
Now
this movie is while we are tearing in a new asshole, it is very good.
Yeah.
Now, instead of critiquing DID, because we've done that enough, let us talk about how it flawlessly depicts trauma.
Yes.
Oh my
Absolutely.
god, yes.
And again, there's kind of a nice little dual dynamic going on between the protagonist and the antagonist, between Anya Taylor-Joy and James McAvoy. Whereas Anya Taylor-Joy was sexually abused by her uncle.
Yeah.
And she is still being abused. Like, that's one of the reasons why she's acting out in school and she's so withdrawn. And James McAvoy Kevin was the whole emergence of his personalities was kind of rooted in
the death of his father.
The death of his father.
His abusive mother.
And his abusive mother.
Very, very abusive mother.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking, like, irons and, like, belts, I'm sure. Yeah. Like, anything to be hit with.
If there's one thing I want to say about how they bring up the trauma, or how Shyamalan does it, I love, like, absolutely adore how we are never told. We are always shown what's going on. Like, there's never a point where Anya Taylor-Joy just sits there and goes, my uncle molests me on a regular basis.
Yeah.
There's never a point where that happens. There's never a point where Kevin stops and monologues about how his mother was an abusive bitch. It was...
what's her name? Sorry. Anya something Taylor.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy, thank you. She is very quiet throughout most of the film.
Yeah.
And you can really tell that because the two other girls who were with her in captivity are, they're acting like rational people. Oh, let's jump the guy. Oh, let's try and get out of here. And she's just sitting there like, this is the same thing that's happened to me many times. Like,
No, I think I don't think they were acting rational. I think they were just, again, like...
as rational as you can be in a situation like that.
They weren't rationalizing. They were panicking is what they were doing.
Oh my god. I just realized something.
What?
When she, when Dennis is about to take one of the girls away to do God knows what, and Anya Taylor-Joy's advice is to pee on yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is actually a thing, but I remember it being said like that's like a self-defense tactic in terms of if you're being sexually assaulted.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So that's a fucking dark new layer to that. But
I heard that a few years ago as well. And so when I saw it in the movie, I was like, damn, they're actually using like real like kidnapping tactics. To make sure that everyone knows, which is super smart.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like. I forgot where I was going to go, guys.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Like you were saying, Anya Taylor-Joy's like revelation about her trauma is very gradual.
Yeah.
You kind of have to put the pieces of yourself together until it's like made very clear.
Yeah.
And then when her uncle makes her take off her clothes in the woods, and then later when she takes off her shirt and you see all the hesitation marks, and I think that's what they're called, the scars anyway.
Yeah, like I recognize some. Obviously, a lot of cigarette burns or cigar burns, whatever. But the cuts specifically, they seem like they were in very specific ways.
Yeah, like ritualistic.
Like almost. Yeah, and I didn't really know where that came from, or if there's like a certain way that it's done, or I was just kind of curious. But like clearly, the point was to show that she's been through a lot of trauma.
Yeah,
I remember what I was gonna say. Sorry to cut you guys off.
No,
you were talking about how the other two were acting rational, and I think that, and I assuming that my initial take stays in, I think they were just more panicked and they were just trying to figure out like what the fuck they could possibly do, and I think Anya Taylor-Joy's character was the only one that could just sit there and go, I've been through shit like this before, I know what to do. Like she felt like the only one that was not acting rationally, like the one who was just kind of
remaining calm.
She was the one that was remaining calm, and she was the one that was able to get through it. I guess I'm trying to tread this water.
Well, I guess when I say acting rationally, I guess I mean like if you like think of it, if you're in that kind of situation.
Yeah,
right?
like
if you were a young woman who was taken by a man and sitting there you don't know where the fuck you are.
Yeah.
You don't know how long you've been there.
Yeah.
You don't know what's gonna happen or what he wants. Like
Oh yeah, you're gonna panic.
You're gonna panic and you're
gonna want to get the fuck.
Basically, what I was trying to say is that they're acting the way I would expect a normal person to react.
In
that situation.
Okay,
that's basically what I was saying.
Yeah. I was gonna say like they were panicking, but I wouldn't say rational.
Yeah.
I would almost call that blonde girl selfish.
You think so?
Well, just think about her actions as she's trying to escape.
Well, yeah, no, she. Because
she's literally.
She doesn't help them.
Hold the door a little bit longer, and then just opens it and leaves.
Yeah.
And just without saying I'll find help or anything like that, she just leaves and she, starts running away. And then she does the stupidest thing that every white girl does in every fucking horror movie and tries to hide from the killer in his own bunker. Like it happens every horror movie. At least once. Or she trips over her own fucking leg or something.
This is reminding me of the Eddie Murphy bit where he's talking about Poltergeist in the Amityville Horror. In the Amityville Horror, the ghost said get out of the house. White people stayed there.
Pretty much, honestly, yeah.
If it was me, If it was me whose daughter was in the TV set, I would just try to change the channel a couple times and get the fuck out of there.
Slight negative I had about the movie is that Kevin / James McAvoy / the Horde / everybody else in his mind is goes to a therapist or
Dr.
Fletcher, right? Who they'll just talk about his condition for a while, and again, to touch on Shyamalan's weaknesses again, they're very long, very dry expository sequences where the only real thing to look at is James McAvoy's expressions.
Yeah, it's very back and forth, like camera wise.
Or like there's that one. I don't know if you guys remember that one scene where it's Dennis trying to act as Barry.
Yeah,
for the last like few sessions, right, or whatever it was, and she can see right through him. And the way it probably does, he seems like, oh, he's acting like Barry, and then as she starts talking more and more and more, like this 2-minute talk. His face just completely changes. Yeah, and it's entirely on his face as she's talking, and you can see the very, very slow but very gradual transformation.
And, and it's a brilliant performance, but visually it's just weak.
Yeah, it's quite.
Yes, I would agree. Like the only reason the scene is good is because it's summed up to James McAvoy's acting.
Yeah. Again, M. Night Shyamalan's like also not the greatest at writing dialogue, and I think some of the therapist dialogue is kind of let down because she's a more subdued character, so she can't.
Let me grab my walker and do my impersonation of her again.
Go for it. She doesn't have a walker, but like
I believe that dissociative identity disorder causes superpowers.
Fucking Christ.
That's her dialogue.
I sure would like a bear hug. Thank you.
There was this scene of her
where she dies.
There's a scene of her because like she has she has this scene where she's doing a conference for like a bunch of
and then she brings that shit up in the conference.
She's like, what if this is the secret to the doorway to all that we call unknown? I was like, that is the most pathetic, unscientific line I've ever heard at a science conference.
I feel like she proofread her own paper and went, motherfucker, I'm going to win the Nobel Prize for that.
As well as like, and maybe this just wasn't brought up in Glass because it does take 3 weeks after. But I'm not making it. Yeah,
her thing is that her doctoral thesis was just like 50 blank pieces of paper and scribbling crayon. Mental illness gives you superpowers.
I also am really curious. So she thought like, because clearly before she went and saw him before she fucking got murdered, is that this guy might be the one who's abducting the girls? Why would you not call the cops and be like, hey, I'm going to this address with this person. If I'm not back in an hour and a half, do something. You know? Yeah. She's like a world-renowned therapist, and she just dies, and no one gives a fuck.
Like she knows that fucking doctor-patient confidentiality can only go so far, right?
Exactly, right. Well, like, yes, it like I've always wondered about like if you were a doctor or therapist and someone's like, I've been murdering women or I've been doing this.
You have to report
it. You have to report it. Right? I would assume you have to because it's exactly like you said. It only goes so far.
Yeah, because at that point, your patient is a danger to society and maybe themselves. So yeah, you do have to report them. Even if you're planning like suicide, I think you have to report that too, don't you?
Yes, I believe you do. Yeah. Because again, danger to themselves.
We are not doctors, and apparently neither
is
this
bitch. Absolutely not medical advice, by the way. Please look up the laws and
we are. Yeah. We're not doctors, but apparently neither is a psychiatrist, so we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Neither is M. Night Shyamalan.
I hope they got Brandon's like disgruntled grunt. Anyway, high five.
Well, there's one thing I want to go quickly before the ending, and that's something I said previously, is about how the girls that he chose was very specific.
Yeah.
And so the way he chose these girls is that the Beast or the Horde believed that those who had not been through trauma, like Kevin had, were impure. Mm-hmm. They didn't know how they couldn't become their full potential unless they went through some kind of trauma.
Yeah, because they haven't seen the harshness of reality.
Right, which is why they adopted, the 3 air quotes cheerleading girls, the preppy with the silver spoon shoved up their ass kind of shit. And those two are the ones who are like that are the ones who die. And then he finds out towards the end of the film when
he sees her
is defending herself. Her shirt's ripped off, and that's when you see all the scars and stuff. And he's like, "Oh fuck!" Well, lot more menacing than I'm about to say.
Yeah.
But he basically says, rejoice, you are now one of the broken. You are now pure. I'm not going to hurt you anymore. And then he just dips and leaves.
If there's something I want to bring up, speaking of
after taking 2 shotgun shells to the chest.
Yeah.
Speaking of Anya Taylor-Joy taking her shirt off.
Uh-oh.
I was gonna say, I know that's not a good segue. I was gonna say, kudos to M. Night for not being like overly gratuitous with that.
Oh, thank God.
Because there's a few times where like people have had to take their shirts off in the movie, but it's not like it always feels gross, or it always feels like it never feels sexual, which is good.
Yeah.
Good for M. Night.
Yeah. If this was made like 20, 30 years ago, that would be an entirely different scenario, I'm guessing.
This is just a random segue I just thought about now.
But it's true. It's a good point. It is very, again, grounded, like down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a wank off fantasy.
No,
It's.
I mean, if M. Night Shyamalan made a wank off fantasy involving 16-year-olds, I'd be kind of scared.
Yeah, as you should be. If anybody makes a wank off fantasy involving 16-year-olds, you should be very scared.
How did we get here?
Poor Brandon.
Oh man.
I don't think he's quite built up a tolerance yet.
Oh man.
Anyway, so you were talking about the Unbreakable theme.
Yeah, after the ending happens, the Beast gets away. Anya Taylor-Joy is. There's a time when the Horde are talking to themselves in the mirror.
Yeah.
And the Unbreakable theme starts playing.
And then it cuts to a diner.
And you see the news report, and somebody's like, it's like the other guy that was like around here 15 years ago.
What was his name?
What was his name? And Bruce Willis was like, Mr. Glass. And then they just walk away really quickly, which is kind of funny. But yeah, and that's how you knew this was a sequel to Unbreakable.
It was so funny because, like I said before, I didn't see Unbreakable before going to this, so I'm sitting there like, "What the fuck was that?" And I look around, all these 34-year-olds are like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "I am missing something. I am missing something."
I was one of the 34-year-olds in the theater. I went and saw this with a friend of mine when it came out. And we just expected like a standard horror movie. I knew nothing besides like, oh, it's, about this guy with 24 different personalities, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And apparently it's good. So we went in and I was like, yeah, this was actually a really solid movie. I actually enjoyed myself. And then that happened. And I just went, oh my God! And
it's one of those moments where you can really tell the difference in what movies which generation watched.
Yeah.
No,
because anybody under the age of 20 was like, huh?
Yeah.
Well, the friend I went with is older than me. Like the friend I was with was like 30 at the time, and I was like 20. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of went, holy shit! And he went, what? What are you fucking?
It's
freaking
Bruce
out
Willis.
It's a sequel to Unbreakable. He's like, the fuck's Unbreakable?
Could it be that like not a lot of people saw Unbreakable?
I feel like that's what it was too. Because like once because as soon as I watched Split, I went like 2 days later. I went and watched Unbreakable, and I was like, "This is incredible! I cannot wait till the sequel to Split comes out." Oh my god!
Yeah. Now I do have a question for you guys. Mm-hmm. Do you think that the movie is better or worse or do you think that the movie would be worse for not having the Unbreakable connection?
Honestly, I think it wasn't really needed.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been fine without the Unbreakable, because like I said, it was in the last 2 minutes, right?
Now,
yeah.
Because I think that it definitely does recontextualize things, which I think is good, because I feel like on its own, I feel like it would have made the DID shit stand out a lot fucking more.
I guess this does like establish that more as like a supernatural happening.
Yeah. And I think for that it would greatly benefits the movie. I don't think it would have like ruined anything if it wasn't there. It would have made the DID stuff stand out a lot fucking more if it wasn't there.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that. That's a good point.
Yeah, well, like both movies have the recurring theme of trauma creates superheroes.
Yeah.
Or I guess evolved humans.
It's time to recommend movies.
Yes. Would you guys recommend Split?
Yes.
Yes.
1 million times yes.
I get. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I do understand not being able to get over the DID stuff because it is extremely egregious,
and it's very, very integral to the. Sorry, not integral. Internet havers.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like when you see a movie that has an actual disease or something that's part of the main plot, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. Because it is Hollywood.
Because writers don't do that fucking
It is Hollywood. It is going to be over-exaggerated to shit. And it's probably not going to be a very accurate representation.
Yeah, please do actual research on DID after you watch this. Please.
Yes. Don't just take it for what it is.
Or better yet, look it up beforehand.
That too,
That's
yeah.
a good option as well. Yeah.
No, and I definitely agree with you, Stefan, that it's gonna be hard for a lot of people to get over that, and that's completely fucking fair.
Well, especially those who actually have it.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and if that's one thing I will say about this movie, it's that yes, it's incredibly egregious with regards to how it depicts DID, but I think it does a great job at making Kevin a very complex and interesting and often sympathetic character at times, at least empathetic. Again, this does not absolve M. Night of any of his sins.
Yeah, he should have fucking known better.
No.
He should have fucking known better. But I'm still grateful that he doesn't completely demonize Kevin at all.
No, well, and that's the thing, right? Is that he makes, at least the way that I saw it was, you don't really see a lot of the good, air quotes, good personalities of Kevin. A lot of it is Patricia and Dennis.
Yeah.
And the Horde and the Hedwig as well. And
yeah, but you completely understand where those personalities come from. You understand the background of those, and that's what I mean by empathetic.
Well, I mean, they make the point of pointing out that, like, Dennis especially is like a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Well, I think his backstory was the only way that Kevin was able to avoid his mother's scrutiny was to make everything perfect, which is why Dennis has OCD.
Yeah.
To, like, really bad OCD as well.
Yeah.
In the sessions, he's constantly adjusting the dish. Or making something else look like this, right? It's I don't know.
But yeah, no, I would still highly recommend the movie despite the DID stuff, because it is, once again, Shyamalan made a very thoughtful film. He took the supervillain origin story and made it an allegory for trauma. And James McAvoy is incredible in the movie.
Oh, he's so good.
Like, I was worried about watching this again because I didn't know how I was going to feel, but I still really, really like this.
This is one of those...
Yeah.
It's a psychological thriller. It just really makes you think.
Yeah, it's a really thought-provoking movie, too.
Yes. Well, those are my favorite kinds of movies. The ones that really make you, like, invest into actually thinking, instead of just sitting there watching a screen. Oh, look, a superhero's flying.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, he beat the bad guy. Oh, I'm going to go home now.
Fuck you, Marvel.
No, but like that's the basis of every superhero. Bad guy, good guy beats bad guy, good guy gets girl, bad guy goes to jail. So that's basically what happened at the end of Unbreakable.
That is Unbreakable, but it's told in such a way that it makes that formula interesting.
Yeah, and also the climax of Unbreakable isn't even in the movie. It's in, like, fucking text at the very end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's, like, based on a true story.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like the end of any, like, fucking music biopic. It reminded me of Walk Hard. No, I'm kidding. But, like, yeah, like, it's
reminded me of Wet Hot American Summer.
It's fucking text at the end of the movie that goes, David led the police to Elijah's whereabouts,
where 3 acts of terrorism were found or something.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, that's a really smart way of doing it. There's no fucking climax in Unbreakable at all.
No, there isn't. It's a very level movie.
Yeah, it's very level.
Because they do not the exact same thing, but a very similar thing in Glass and how the ending of that movie went.
Stefan, why don't you tell us about Glass?
All right. So after Split came out, Shyamalan announced a sequel that was to come out in 2019, which was announced as being Glass, which was kind of going to tie Unbreakable and Split together into a conclusion. And it came out in January of 2019. Everybody's here, from Bruce Willis to Samuel L. Jackson to James McAvoy, with Anya Taylor-Joy, Spencer Treat Clark.
The only one who actually wasn't there from the original, the first 2 films, was the wife. I'm pretty sure it's just
Robin Wright didn't show up.
Yeah. And also Mr. Glass's mom.
Who is actually younger than Sam Jackson in real life.
That's weird to think about.
I was talking to Stefano this when we were watching the film. I'm sitting there like, all right, so Elijah in Unbreakable is like, what, mid-30s, 40s, something like that, right?
I think he's supposed to be like late 30s, maybe, probably
like
around
early 40s. Yeah, late 30s, early 40s. And then this is, supposed to be 15 years after the next one?
This is actually, so I actually noticed this.
And he somehow looks like he aged 30?
No, yeah. Okay, so in Split, they say it was 15 years after.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, in Glass, they said it was 19 years later, even though the fucking incident...
They said it was 3 weeks after.
It was 3 weeks after, but they say that he'd been locked up for 19 years. So, like, the timeline's really fucked up.
A little bit of an inconsistency there. Okay.
I mean, again, this will not affect my score, because I'm not...
No, it doesn't really... honestly, it doesn't really matter.
I'm not yourmoviesucks.org, but...
Yeah.
Like, it was just something I kind of noticed when...
So basically the premise... Oh, also Sarah Paulson's in this movie.
Oh, yeah, right.
Also, the premise of this movie is that after the events of Split, Bruce Willis as his superhero identity, which is Overseer, which is a name I hate, goes out to look after James McAvoy. In the process, they both get locked up in like kind of a mental institution by Sarah Paulson, along with Mr. Glass. Sarah Paulson apparently is trying to convince them that what they're experiencing is not superpowers but mental delusions.
Yeah.
And that's the premise of the movie, and it's surprisingly understated. Like,
it's very effective.
Yeah, the tone is more like Unbreakable than it is Split, I found, in the sense that it's less thrilling and more like kind of calm and pensive. Chris, why do you have a cigarette in your mouth?
He really wants to smoke.
It is a metaphor. Thank you, smoking, Chris.
Smoking, Chris. A whole different personality. Ha ha!
22 more to go.
All right. Who wants to go first?
Sure.
Chris,
Okay.
what do you think of Glass?
I love it and hate it at the same time.
Okay, good.
Actually, I don't hate any aspects of this movie. There's things about it that frustrate me.
I'm kind of in the same boat where I love especially the thematic elements of it.
Mhm.
I love Mr. Glass in general.
Oh my god, yeah.
And those were my two main positives, actually.
I like how Bruce Willis is trying.
Bruce Willis is trying. This is his first time trying in a really long time, and James McAvoy's still really good. And
Sam Jackson's great.
Sam Jackson's
Everybody's
great.
really good in this
There
movie.
is. I want to talk about Anya Joy Taylor Anya Taylor-Joy at some point, but in a bit.
The world building has neat ideas, but I think it really kind of adds up to nothing or falls flat, especially when the twist is revealed. Like, all that is very convoluted. I think
very convoluted.
It's like I understood what they were trying to go for.
Yeah.
I think thematically it's absolutely there.
I understand it on a thematic level, but in execution it doesn't work. Yeah. And I think Sarah Paulson's entire deal is also not executed very well.
Well, it comes from out of nowhere.
Yeah. It comes out of nowhere, and like parts of it, like her plan does not make sense.
Not even a little bit.
But we'll get into that in a little bit. Brandon, what do you think about this movie?
I love this movie.
Yeah,
really.
I actually really enjoyed this movie.
Why?
I like I said, I was just a huge fan of Split,
Mm.
and seeing those different personalities played by James McAvoy again was very, very nice for me to see. Anyway, there is an issue that I had with Anya Taylor-Joy. I just can't quite get past, and it's the fact that she clearly has very extreme Stockholm syndrome.
That's not really an issue. That seems realistic.
I don't know. It's just.
I think it's more like of her having sympathy for, like, and compassion for Kevin specifically.
Like,
I'm not
saying there's not a way that you could argue that what she did is right. Like, I totally understand it, like, in terms of the movie and how, I guess, her very specific situation. Yes, I could see that. Mm. But, like, any, like, person I think in her shoes who was abused by her uncle and sexually assaulted by her uncle when she was younger, and then goes through a traumatic episode with this random person who's literally trying to kill her 3 weeks prior to this event, and now she's in love with him.
I don't think she's really in love.
I don't think she's in love with him.
I mean,
I think she sympathizes with him.
I don't know.
Here, pass me the rich.
That's not the vibe that I got. Like, I got she was like, because like she is all the little subtle hints. She's working at the zoo that she was abducted at.
Yeah.
She is constantly still thinking about him. All those little
she's still wearing the fucking zoo jacket too.
Exactly.
Now that you mentioned that is a little odd. But,
right? Exactly.
I didn't get the sense that she was romantically attracted to him.
No, I got the sense that it was more like a Stockholm syndrome kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
She definitely cares about him, and she has compassion for him, maybe because she emphasizes the fact that he's another, like, kind of tormented person.
Yeah, well, like, when they have that talk towards the end where he's like, oh yeah, we're the same, because they both been through childhood trauma and all that, or they had an abusive guardian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And that made sense to me. I'm like, okay, I can see where she kind of could get some kind of feeling for this guy.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have a wide spectrum of emotions on this movie.
A lot of, yes.
Does anybody have an opening point they want to make? We're opening up this debate immediately.
Sure, why not?
We're in the free marketplace of movie opinions.
Sure, why not? I'll be the first internet opinion haver extraordinaire.
Hell yeah.
I'm just go through the Reddit real quick.
Okay.
Oh, a lot of Nazis on here.
Pass me the Rich Evans doll. Right now we're holding the character that Rich Evans plays in The End Is Nigh.
Which is a Switch video game.
Yeah, which is a Switch video game. Yeah, Rich Evans is in this game, dude. I want to talk about Sarah Paulson's character real quick.
Okay.
Let's do it, because I have opinions on her too.
I want to talk about how ideologically and methodically. She's really well fleshed out, but in execution on a narrative level, she's not.
Mm-hmm.
You and I were talking about this, and I said to you, like, yeah, her ideology and her motives are really consistent throughout the film, especially watching it again. Like, you notice things like, obviously, like, okay, so obviously, like, how Unbreakable is about grief and Split is about trauma, this movie is about oppression. Like, obviously, the psych ward is representing, like a sort of conversion therapy, and the ending is clearly an allegory for prejudice-fueled hate crimes done by people who are just scared of those who are supposedly different.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I got.
There's a huge tone of, be the same, otherwise we'll hurt you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, like the ending with the, I don't know, I'm going to call it the Clover Club. I would assume.
Yeah. That's pretty good. If you want to make it an allegory about, say, like sexual identity or gender identity, the fact that they're like trying to convince them that that's a mental illness is pretty like nail.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, and they almost get Bruce Willis too, or David Dunn.
Yeah,
I guess because he is.
Well, they almost get Kevin at one point too, because he's so
exactly.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you really understand it because once Patricia, who is clearly the leader of the horde, when she starts second guessing everything, it's like, holy shit, this could actually be something.
Chris, finish your thought.
Like, her progression is really subtle, but what I noticed, like, now is, like, she's, like, Sarah Paulson's character is obviously supposed to represent, like, those fucking bigots who cling on to Fox News' every word like it's scripture and uses facts and logic to own her opponents and justify her hatred for people that she doesn't understand.
Right.
Like, she's clearly supposed to be that bigoted character who just hates people who are different. And her progression is like really, really like subtle, almost to the point where it's like borderlining on non-existent. Yeah. But like it's there. Like it is there. Like the group therapy scene, the second time around, I got a huge Ben Shapiro vibe from it. Where like they're sitting there trying to kind of explain like how this could be superpowers, and she's like, well, facts and logic dictate that. Yeah. You're wrong. Yeah. And it just I don't know, like, fuck Ben Shapiro, but goddamn, Sarah Paulson can play a mean Ben Shapiro.
Well, I remember when I was watching that scene too, there was one point where I'm like, because this is the point where they really start to kind of believe her. And kind of like, oh, maybe she's right. There's another scene, he's like, oh, what, David, describe this feeling you get. And he's like, oh, it's just kind of a feeling, an urge, you kind of have to interpret it, something like that. And he's like, she's saying, oh, maybe you had, like, the thought process she was out for him is, oh, you saw this guy on the news, and then you saw the clay stained on his pants, and, like, thought, oh, maybe this is the guy. And you heard girls screaming, and it's like, I wonder if he completely forgot about the fact that he had a vision, and he saw him sitting around a bunch of unconscious women. I think, like, literally just,
I think this is where we get to our problems.
I was gonna say, I don't think he wanted to actually say that. Yeah, I feel like he was really hesitant to say that.
No, but like he didn't have to say it. But he at least, if he had that thought in his mind, he never would have doubted that he was a superhero in the first place.
Yeah,
at least that's what I gleaned.
Now let's talk about your problems with the movie.
Okay, so I have so much fucking problems with Sarah Paulson's thing, and yes, I agree. The thematic stuff is there, the allegorical stuff is there, but so they have objective fucking proof that they have superpowers. Yes. Bruce Willis, like, aside from the mentions, like, he objectively has super strength. Like, he lifted, like, a weight that, Bruce Willis is built, but, like, he should not be able to lift that much weight.
Man, have you seen Live Free or Die Hard? Bruce Willis is a fucking superhero.
Not to mention, he's been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah, you'd think that 19. Would be. You think that? Sorry, you think that would? You think that would be a big enough fucking sample size? Yeah, right. And then, like, she's like, oh, but maybe you're just a really good rock climber. The Horde literally climbs up flat surfaces and hangs from a flat ceiling. Like, that's no rock climber can do that.
Yeah, like how much force are you putting on your fingertips to hold yourself up there like that? If you're, like.
And that on itself is pretty dumb, but like it makes them start questioning themselves. It's like, but that's like part of their arcs from the other movies.
No, exactly. It's kind of like, I totally agree with you there. It's like they threw the common sense that they should have had out the window and just listened to her. Yeah, and it's just like you have many examples of where she is wrong.
Yeah, the story made the characters believe something so it could progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so Mr. Glass could have his moment.
Yes, exactly.
But it doesn't make any sense. And it's narratively really frustrating.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I think the middle of the movie feels so bloated.
Mm-hmm.
It's because like they keep trying to drag this out and it doesn't really make any sense, so it just feels like it goes on forever. I guess we should probably say a positive. Because we shat on it for a while.
Like I said, like thematically I think this movie's great.
Well, and like continuing on that point, like we were saying earlier how like the Unbreakable follows a very generic superhero kind of movie structure.
Mm-hmm.
Like not in, but it changes it in ways that hasn't been seen before that, and it was very nice for us to watch.
Mm-hmm.
This one has another like very similar aspect where all the main characters and heroes and villains are together, and then the two bad guys team up, and then we're gonna have a big showdown at this huge event that's happening and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, this is a very typical superhero fight to the death kind of storyline. Mm-hmm. And then it changes at the very last moment to we're not going at all towards that building.
Yeah,
we're staying where everyone we know is already there.
Mm-hmm.
And then kill off every main character.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they all die, don't they?
They all die.
They all die.
It gets to the point where Kevin is shot because Anya Taylor-Joy calms him down enough, like emotionally. He's like, she keeps saying Kevin Wendell-Crumb, trying to get him out of that beast form so that she can, have Kevin take the light, because she sees the Horde and the beast as this evil creature. Mm-hmm. Or evil person, right? And so but she knows that Kevin is a good person, right? So she gets him out, and then as soon as he is calmed down from the beast form, dead.
Yeah.
Shot right in the gut. Mm-hmm. He's actually ironically the last one to die, even though he shot first.
Yeah,
that's true.
Bruce Willis drowns.
Which is really like kind of
Bruce Willis is thrown in.
It's pretty harsh.
It's fucking cynical.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. He's thrown in the middle of because he's fighting the beast at this point. Obviously, he's thrown in that giant tub of water, which he's like, it's his weakness, and he's laying there on the ground. Takes 1,000,000 years to get up, and these people who I've deemed the Clover Club.
Yeah, but they're dressed as cops
and military, and they're very blended in, very
figure out the allegory there.
Very Mission Impossible Syndicate-ish.
Yeah.
Remember when I was talking about hate crimes, guys?
Yeah. It's very allegorical.
Bruce Willis is laying on the ground, and this guy just drags him over to literally a puddle, which is about, for a puddle, that's a quite decent sized pothole. I'm not gonna lie, it's like it's half a foot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Kind of convenient.
Yeah, it did feel like, but that's not. But he is. I can't remember the girl actor's name who's talking with the clover on her.
Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson. She's like, did I almost convince you enough?
Her name was Sarah Paulson.
Sorry, she asked
I just thought
right
of it.
before.
Is her nickname
Right before he's about to be fucking executed, she asks him, "Did I almost convince you were a real man or like a regular man?" And I was like, "Why? You're gonna kill the guy and you want him to be like, oh, I told you so."
Basically, what she did, like right as she was about to drown the motherfucker, was go, "Hey, just a quick survey here."
Hey, this is census. Can I put you down for voting next election?
Hi, I'm Sarah from the United Conservative Party.
How many times we've gotten calls from that fucking bitch?
She's everywhere.
Oh my god.
She's like the Black Plague.
So coming up kills him. Mr. Glass has... I guess I missed something. Mr. Glass gets gut punched and lots of bones broken by the beast, because we find out that he was also responsible for David being who he is, because he caused the train accident that David was here. And Kevin's dad happened to also be on that same train. Mm-hmm. So that's why and he even says, what's the coincidence that? It's incredible.
And
right?
if I could make a quick census, do we think that works? Does that seem like very convenient?
I don't know. It just seems like cause when he's going through the files, right, he looks up Wendell Crumb and he's like, oh my god, it's actually, I think it wasn't planned that way. I don't think he actually planned to create the beast.
No.
Or Kevin. It felt like it feels like a twist for the sake of having a twist, but I also think it's the better twist of the two.
Yeah. I don't hate it.
No,
definitely.
I don't hate it either. Like, I thought it actually fit in with the movie and plot really well.
I think thematically it fits.
Yeah.
Well, because at some point, like in the comic books, like when the son comes up and say, in every comic book and every villain, one villain always knows more than the other guy. He's not telling you something. That's true. Yeah, it happens in every comic book. That I know of, anyway. And so, you had to get it so that Samuel Jackson lost. Yeah, in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think the way they did it is not too bad.
Yeah.
It's not the
But
worst that I've seen.
they do give him some like vindication in the sense that he's right about about the fact that there are superheroes.
Yes.
Yeah.
If
It wasn't a
there's-
mistake, Mama.
If there's one thing I could bring up, because we were talking about M. Night Shyamalan's weakness of dialogue.
Mm.
I think this is the one where the dialogue is the most egregious.
Yeah.
Because, take a drink every fucking time someone says, "This is just like in a comic book where."
Yeah.
It
It's
happens
exactly.
pervasively.
Yeah, everyone's like, in this, just anytime the word comic book is said, the two words comic book.
No, this is just like a comic book.
This was just an origin story.
This is the final showdown.
That's the other thing too, is that the
They
end
say
of this
showdown a
film,
lot.
They say showdown a lot.
the end of this film clearly sets up a potential cinematic universe.
The end.
Potential cinematic.
I really
universe.
hope the happening is part of the cinematic.
No, but yeah, like he sets it up where like, oh yeah, this is an origin story, and then you have the Black Clover Club who is like, oh yeah, like if you want, we're done with this city, I'll move on to the next city, and I'm like, wait, there's other fucking cities with other superheroes. Oh, I'm curious what this is gonna be. But M. Night Shyamalan has said I have no interest in making a cinematic universe.
But
yeah.
But what if like the characters from After Earth are like the Guardians of the Galaxy or something?
Jesus.
Oh.
The Last Airbender is like the fucking is like a fucking prequel movie.
Instead of like nice 70s music, you get like hardcore 80s metal.
Are you sure that's hardcore 80s metal? Or is that Rammstein?
I mean, it could be Ramstein. Lost.
Book Dish is still my favorite Rammstein song,
Book Dish.
just because of the fucking live performance they did, where he fucking whips out a fake dildo and sprays fake cum all over one of his bandmates.
Sam Jackson's great in this movie.
My favorite episode of Sequel Decay is where they talk about ejaculate.
Again!
And then it just mirrors it. Everyone else finds like anybody besides the main characters in this movie are just the stupidest people you've ever met. Like the security guard, for example. Oh, all the drives were wiped, right? Yeah, they were all wiped. Well, was it downloaded anywhere? Would that not be the first thing you fucking check? If someone's like this clearly criminally insane self-proclaimed genius.
Yeah.
Like, would you not check? Like, I don't know. I thought that was a little bit of a...
Yeah.
Okay, your
Like,
movie sucks.
The fact that it happened is not that bad. It's the fact that it was like kind of pointed out, like kind of dopily in the dialogue.
Yeah.
I think. Speaking of
Oh,
dopey,
and that's why it was bad too. The
Yeah.
dialogues,
yeah. Speaking of dopey shit in the dialogue, like so in Unbreakable, M. Night Shyamalan actually plays a character that
Yes.
that Bruce Willis stops at the stadium because he's like selling or dealing drugs or something, and then like he has that same character has. I guess apparently it's the same character has a cameo in Split as like a zookeeper or something, right? Not
Is
a
that supposed to
zookeeper.
be, no, though I don't think it's the same character.
he is supposed to be the same
It is the same character
Is it
because
supposed
because
to
the
be?
same
He says,
character.
he's like, well, at least in Glass. He's like,
Yeah,
oh,
he
yeah,
turns up in Glass.
I had a really shitty childhood, but I turned my life around. Positive thinking. And I was like...
Well, I know
because-
in Glass it's the same character, but I didn't know
It's
it was
the same character in Split.
I didn't know M. Night Shyamalan was a big fan of Hooters then.
Oh fucking! You're
Oh,
right.
you're right. Oh my
Holy
god, that
shit.
is...
I love
yeah.
how there's just a random exchange in Split where they're just talking about Hooters.
Yeah, but
No,
So
no,
fucking-
specifically about the chicken wings from Hooters.
but it's like all M. Night Shyamalan dialogue, so it's kind of stilted too.
Actually, you know what really blows my mind talking of Hooters? I didn't even know there was still one in the city.
Yeah, it's on the West End.
I know! It's fucking wild. I actually kind of want to go.
Trying to figure out where we are. It's the scavenger hunt.
but
It's Chicago.
but yeah, that scene's my favorite scene in Glass, and not for any good reason, because it's just like M. Night Shyamalan stopping Bruce Willis for no reason when he's leaving the store that Bruce Willis owns, and he's like, "Hey, did you used to work at a stadium? Boy, I used to hang out with some shady folks down at the stadium, but I really turned my life around." And then Bruce Willis just like awkwardly walks out the door.
As Spencer Treat Clark goes, well, have a good walk, Dad.
Yeah.
Sorry, we gotta close it. I gotta help my dad fight crime.
Because the closure I really fucking wanted from this movie, what happened to M. Night Shyamalan's character in an unfucking breakable?
I want Unbreakable 4 to be like a spin-off prequel. Centered all
That's,
around M. Night Shyamalan.
that's a good question, actually. So we had Unbreakable, which is the story of Bruce Willis and
Yeah.
David Dunn, and then we have Split, which is the story of the Beast, and then we have Glass, which is the story of Mr. Glass. What would the fourth movie be called?
Well, assuming it's about M. Night Shyamalan's character from all three movies.
Actually, I think Clover.
Hooters boy.
Hooters boy. No,
Clover would be a good one, actually.
Clover,
I think would probably be where they would go with it.
Yeah.
I hope they call it Cloverfield.
Hey, 3.
Oh no!
Turns out these were all movies in the Cloverfield universe after all.
Fuck.
Oh Jesus!
Oh my!
I wouldn't even put it over.
God, man.
Did you know that A Quiet Place was supposed to be a Cloverfield movie?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh yes, you told me that, or somebody told me.
I love The Quiet Place.
I
It was John Krasinski is amazing.
Yeah, he's very good in that movie.
kind of bandwagon off the running theme of this movie of thematically it works, but practically it absolutely doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
The ending, like the just kind of the series of twists, I think at the very end just feel very convoluted.
Yeah, well, because at the very end you finally realize what Elijah's actual plan was, right?
Yeah.
Is that we have, and it cuts back to previous scenes in the movie. Oh, we see this camera. There's 100 more of them around. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Well, he's gonna use those. And he walks to the basement to see by most cameras everywhere. That he takes literally the thing and sends it to the three, very conveniently, the three people who he happens to have the email addresses for.
Why does he have Anya Taylor-Joy's email address?
I'm also
that's kind of creepy.
Like he has hers. He has his mom's makes sense,
Mm.
but having the other two makes none.
I'm honestly imagining Elijah just doing the fucking chainmail thing. Send this to 3 of your friends or you'll get bad luck forever.
Well, I'm curious. I actually really know how did they get these emails? Because I'm pretty sure that what was the kid's name? His actual name? Joseph. Joseph was his name.
Yeah.
I don't think Joseph would go and see the guy who his father put away and be like,
What?
"Hey, you ever want to chat? Here's my Discord."
Yeah,
here's
because Robin
my
Wright would've
AOL.
immediately called the cops.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's just Sam Jackson going, if you ever want to talk, here's my AOL address.
Yeah, pretty much. MSN Messenger. Yeah.
Also, Robin Wright's character being dead in this movie, it's fucking whatever. It kind of feels it doesn't really add on to anything.
No.
I don't think it.
It was more just
it's
why isn't she here?
It's one of those things where it's like, oh, we couldn't get the actress to come back for the film, so we're just going to write her out as dead.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
she was doing House of Cards at the time, wasn't she?
Yes,
I think so, yeah.
I believe. Well, it would have been one of the last seasons of House
I think it
of
was the
Cards.
last season.
Yeah.
What more could she really have added to the film other than what's there?
You're right. You're not wrong. It's just I guess it is a tricky situation because her being there wouldn't have added much, but her not being there and them fixating on it also is kind of kind of pointless.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's okay, his wife died, that sucks.
Yeah.
Move on.
So, would you guys recommend the movie?
I would recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Stefan?
I feel like I like it more than you guys do.
Yeah,
Yes,
you do.
You do.
You're not wrong, man.
Brandon, just so it doesn't feel like we've been shitting it the whole time. Do you have any more positive stuff that you want to say about it?
I mean, the only thing I can really rave about at this point, because we talked about, I think, literally everything else, is the acting by James McAvoy.
Oh yeah, he's still great.
Is one of my favorite actors of all time.
Yeah,
just because of these 2 movies alone.
Okay. Stefan, would you recommend Glass?
Glass.
I would say a soft recommend.
Okay.
I think I'm debating between that and Middle of the Road, and in the end, I would say a soft recommend. If you watch the other 2, you might as well watch this one.
Yeah.
It's not obscenely long. It's definitely the weakest of the 3.
I would agree with that, actually.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
And a lot of people really don't like it, and I can't say I fault them. But it does bring some interesting stuff to the table. All the 3 protagonists are really good. But yeah, overall, it does have a lot of flaws. And I would say a very, very, very soft recommend. I'm not going to say middle of the road because I'm not really ambivalent to it, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to say soft recommend.
Stefan, I'm on your side. It's a soft recommendation for me too, boys. It's a very soft thumbs up.
Yeah. For me, it's not it's a huge, oh, you need to see this fucking movie.
You said you loved it earlier, so
yes.
Eat me.
But that's a personal thing.
Yes, but then,
I speak for Brandon.
You guys made some good points that I guess I didn't really thought about before. And that changed, I guess, slightly my recommendation.
Well, I hope it doesn't too
enjoy
much.
The movie,
I think enjoy it.
I
see why you
I'm not
enjoy
saying
it.
I don't like. I'm not saying I don't like the movie now because of your guys' recommendations. I'm just saying, that actually makes a lot of sense, and it lets me have I guess another view of the movie from your guys' perspective.
Yes, but I'm gonna softly recommend it, and it's gonna be more because thematically it's so good. Thematically, it's so rich, and something that's very consistent with Shyamalan's movies is like these three is that they're very thematically rich and they're very thematically thoughtful, and yeah, they're not very subtle, but who gives a shit? There's issues, as you said. This movie is messy. This movie is
Very messy.
Clumsy. This movie is all over the place at points. But goddamn, if I don't say I admire this movie, I'm lying. It's so interesting.
I think
it really is.
Yeah. We've kind of touched on this before, but I think overall, I think this trilogy is one of the best like deconstructions of superhero and supervillain tropes.
Well, it's better than the one episode the boys have watched.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. It's like these kind of deconstructions of superhero stuff that try to be kind of darker and grittier, like usually take the wrong lesson from Watchmen, where they try to make it everything's cynical, so it has to be ultra violent. There has to be a lot of sexual violence and nudity, and there has to be a lot of swear words. Yeah. And this movie is dark and grounded, but it avoids all that. It's dark and grounded in a very humanistic way.
Yeah, like these movies are all PG-13.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't feel like it needs to be rated R.
No.
Is it rated R?
No, they're all PG-13.
Yeah, no, that's good rating.
Yeah. So I admire them a lot for that.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to mention that, remember when we were talking about Spider-Man earlier and Sony and Marvel and Disney and all that shit? People are like, oh man, it's so rare that, Disney and another studio agree to work together on shit. Like, it's never happened. And it's like, excuse me, but Disney let fucking Universal and Blumhouse make these fucking sequels to Unbreakable.
That's true.
So fuck off.
Because Touchstone was I don't know if it still is, but
it's still Disney.
It's still a Disney thing.
I think the studio's not defunct.
Yeah,
you don't see a lot of Touchstone stuff anymore.
No, because it doesn't exist anymore.
Which sucks, because I actually really like the Touchstone pictures. But
was Nightmare Before Christmas Touchstone?
I think so, yeah.
I believe so. Yeah. Anything from like the 95 to like 2006.
But I think like Disney's kind of reclaimed as like a Disney movie. But it definitely was released under the Touch. It was definitely released under the Touchstone banner.
Yeah.
The Touchstone.
Can't wait for Marvel stands on Twitter to beg Disney to integrate David Dunn into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
The thing is, I know M. Night Shyamalan has. He said he's not interested in making a cinematic universe based on this stuff. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I am curious though of what if he were to make something like this again, or like a continuation of the world.
I don't think he will, and I don't think he should.
No, and I agree with you there. I think it's good the way it is, but. If
it would have to be completely new characters.
Yeah, well, it is everyone's dead.
Yeah,
so, or it would have to focus on Anya Taylor-Joy, Spencer Treat Clark, and I forget the actress's name who plays Elijah's mom.
She's good.
She's really good.
She's a really good actress.
Elijah's mom.
Elijah's mom.
It would probably I wonder if he'd send it outside of Philadelphia, because he doesn't usually center movies outside of Philadelphia.
No, he does not.
Yeah,
It's Always Sunny in Shyamalan's Philadelphia. Anyway, honestly, I think what Shyamalan should do next is probably something outside of this.
Outside of the superhero kind of stuff.
I am honestly looking forward to seeing what he does next, though.
Sure.
Me too.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm hoping he kind of goes into the horror.
Well, stuff. Go watch The Visit.
The Visit is really good.
I've seen The Visit. It is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, good. Good.
I love
Remember the fucking diaper thing?
Oh, yeah. That's so fucking gross.
Oh, man. Fuck.
God, I love that movie.
But
I think we're done.
Yeah. So that was the Unbreakable trilogy. I guess we can call it now over 15 years.
Apparently, the official name is the East Rail 177 trilogy. Or
fuck that.
The
what?
The
Unbreakable trilogy.
It's the Unbreakable trilogy.
But fuck that.
Who
shit.
named it that?
It probably Shyamalan.
Shyamalan, your dialogue skills, bro.
Damn you, man.
Your fucking dialogue skills, man. Oh my god. But anyway,
thank you. Horse out.
Yes.
We're still sequel Decay.
Yes.
We're still on YouTube. We will get SoundCloud figured out hopefully extremely soon. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Follow us on Twitter at Decay Sequel. We post quite frequently, and follow our individual accounts there.
I need exposure.
Well, then just whip out your dick. That's exposure.
I mean,
you two are whores.
Actually, you know what? I would only do a Logan or Jake Paul episode if it was live in the Japanese suicide.
Everybody shut the fuck up and let me do the social media stuff! For fuck's sake! You two suck! Follow us on Twitter at Decay Sequel. Our individual Twitter accounts are also there. Please follow me. I make good posts. And we also have...
Way to pander to the audience.
Shut the fuck up, Brandon! Shut the fuck up! I've had it up to here! Trying to be fucking professional.
You professional? When?
Alright,
Shut up!
Why does that look like
Sequeldecay@gmail.com is our email. Just fucking say hi. I don't care.
Patreon?
We also have a Patreon. Send us money if you want.
And say hi.
And say hi. Yeah, just say hi, man.
Anything is appreciated.
I just want the human affection. Anyway.
I just want to be loved!
Anyway.
We're gonna get a fucking noise complaint.
Anyway,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Chris.
You're not. Shut the fuck up.
I'm not that sorry. We're Sequel Decay, signing off.
Yes.
Internet opinion havers extraordinaire.
Thank you everyone so much for watching.
Yeah, thanks a lot
watching
for tuning in.
this blank screen of a logo.
Thanks for tolerating us freaking out at the very end here. Or specifically me, I guess.
My favorite episode of Sequel Decay is when Stefan finally blows up and hits Chris.
That's the name of the episode. Stefan has a mental breakdown? Question mark.
Chris touches himself? Question mark.
That's every episode, Chris. Come on.
I'm just playing with the tumor right now.
Why is this floor so sticky? But anyway, we're done.
All right. Thank you everyone
Goodbye.
so much for listening. Have a great rest
Thanks
of your
for tuning
day.
in. We'll be back next week. Bye.
God, we fucking suck.